Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Hauser, and I am the Interim Vice President of Research and Innovation here at the University of Windsor. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ojibwa, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. I invite you all to consider your own position with regard to the land where you live, work, and study. And as we make this land acknowledgement, it is also important that we continue to do the work to address systemic and historic injustices. Thank you for joining us this morning to remember those who lost their lives in the Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 tragedy. On January 8, 2020, Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 was shot down minutes after taking off from Tehran, Iran, by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. 55 Canadian citizens and 30 permanent residents were among the 176 people killed in this tragedy. Now, before we begin the memorial, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our students, our faculty, and our staff in attendance today, along with Eric Kuzmierczak, Member of Parliament for Windsor-Tecumseh, and Hilda MacDonald, Essex County Warden and Mayor of the Municipality of Leamington. Thank you all for being here. This morning you will hear from a number of speakers, but first I would like to invite you to turn your attention to the screens for a short video message from our University President and Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Robert Gordon, followed by a slideshow video of the 5 University of Windsor community members lost in this tragedy.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. 3 years ago, on January the 8th, 2020, the University of Windsor lost 5 cherished members of our community. Doctoral student in civil engineering, Pedram Jadidi, biology research assistant, Samira Bashiri, and her spouse, Hamidreza Setareh Kokab, a PhD candidate in mechanical engineering, and civil engineering doctoral student, Zahra Naghibi, and her spouse, Mohammad Abbaspour Ghadi, were among 176 people killed when the plane they were on was shot down during liftoff from Tehran. I know that we all feel the lasting impact caused by this senseless tragedy. Our own students were standing on the very doorstep of discovery in their academic careers, and their potential was limitless. We will never know what life-changing contributions they may have made in their areas of study and pursuits, and that loss is unfathomable. The fallen will continue to be remembered by friends, colleagues, faculty, and staff as vital contributors and caring companions. The University of Windsor supports its Iranian community and all those impacted by this tragedy. Today we gather to remember them, to honor them and their legacies. The university community established a memorial scholarship in their honor and partnered with the City of Windsor to establish a riverfront memorial not far from campus that will continue to serve as a tangible reminder of the lives they led, their great and lasting impact on our community, and the unlimited potential that was lost. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. خدایا خود کمک کن. هواپیما آتیش گرفته.
سرشاخ سر کوی تو دیرم به دل مهر من روی تو دیرم بت من کعبه من به ترسم نظر سوی تو بینم
تو که نازنده بالا دل رو بایی آخ تو که بی سرمه چشون سرمه سایی تو که مشکین و گیزو در قفایی به مگویی که سرگردون چرایی سرگردون چرایی
I would now like to invite Dr. Lisa Porter, Distinguished Professor and Executive Director of the WeSpark Health Institute, to the podium to say a few words.
On January 8th, 2020, the world changed for so many people, several of whom are in the room with us here today. For families, friends, and colleagues of the 176 individuals who were aboard Ukraine Flight 752, the world stopped spinning, and hearts were broken in a way that can never be rectified. Each of the individuals aboard that plane had talents, love to give, had futures ahead of them. Many were among the best and the brightest in their fields, including the individuals en route here to Windsor. It will forever haunt us that we'll never know what those individuals themselves would have accomplished. Dr. Samira Bashiri was one of those individuals. She graduated as a veterinarian at the top of her class at the University of Toronto. She came here to Windsor in support of her beloved husband, Hamidreza Setareh Kokab, a brilliant engineering PhD student. They were a beautiful couple inside and out, affectionately called Hammy and Sammy by many around the university. They were popular, loved, admired within the university and local communities. In my own lab, Samira began as a research assistant, determined to tackle a new field. She quickly found a way to leverage her expertise to improve the models that we use to study cancer and novel drug development. She'd already made progress, and she'd convinced me and my group that without a doubt, she would be a successful PhD student beginning grad studies in the fall. It's easy to focus on the pain and the hate. It's in our nature, I think. Individuals that we adored, that we treasured, that had promise and potential were taken. They were unfairly taken. Hate is justified. But our world is so full of hate. And where does the cycle stop? Samira was the furthest thing from this. I realize it sounds like a cliche, but I invite you just to look at her Instagram profile, which continues to be circulated today, Samira Vet Life. It'll give you just a small glimpse of her spirit. She shone light on everything that was beautiful and exciting. She brought energy and compassion to her every day. Samira was proud to be Iranian. She would share with us the beauties of Iran. She would tell us stories about her loving, amazing family and friends back home. She wanted us in Canada to know the country that she knew and to see it through her eyes. Over the past 3 years, I've had the privilege of meeting Samira's mom and dad. I'm thrilled that they're continuing to forge her relationships here in Canada that Samira and Hamidreza worked so hard to establish. The amazing family that hosted Sammy and Hammy here in Windsor, John and Lee Smithies, have now supported many Iranian students. The vet clinic where Samira used to work has now dedicated 1 day a week to helping street animals. As fate would have it, one of Samira's best friends, Samira Rahimi, has moved here to Windsor. She worked really hard on her English, and she's continuing Samira's work in my lab. And she's the motivating force behind this event here today. For all of our Iranian students who are here working hard at the university to be successful in your chosen career path at a time of great adversity, who are continuing to be a positive global relationship between Iran and Canada, simply by being you, simply by telling your stories, by being a good person. This is more important and more powerful than I think most of us could even imagine. It takes great strength to choose love and kindness over hate. It takes tremendous strength for those who are hurting the most to continue to move forward. But the more we embrace each other's differences, the more we elevate peace, freedom, equality, and education for all, the more we support the success of our Iranian community, we prevent hate from winning. We stop the cycle, and we ensure that those 5 individuals that we're recognizing here today continue to have an impact on the world. So on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff in the Faculty of Science, Dean Cavallo Medved, and my own laboratory team, I want the Iranian community to know that we see your pain, that we will never forget, and that we stand by your side. Mara do ramehud sharik bidonid, Mara kanara shoma hastim, va faramush nahamekat.
Thank you, Dr. Porter. I would like to now invite Samira's mother, Afsani Asadeen, to the podium to say a few words, followed by John Smithies, friend of Samira and Hamid, and Masa Rahimi, graduate student and friend of Hamid.
Hello everyone. Today marks the 3rd anniversary of the downing of the flight PS752. But to me, it feels like 3 centers. I'm thankful for this opportunity to be the voice of the families of 177 one-of-kind people. All of us stopped living once that plane was downed, once we people. Once we lost our children, our partners, our parents, and our loved ones. We are not living, and we are only alive. We are only alive to witness justice and to know why. I have missed you, Samira. 3 years has passed since I kissed you goodbye at the airport and headed home, calming myself by thoughts that you're having a great life, safety, and peace ahead of you in your new home. I told myself it is worth the hardship and being away from you. I was saying to myself, I would see her soon, just like we promised each other. How can I describe that morning without being suffocated and wringing out of tears. Those mediators who used you as a human shell never thought about the lost dreams, the wrecked patience, and the broken hearts when pressing the deadly button at the twice. The murderers shoot, and all of you, the passengers, draw your marks in the sky with your blood. 3 years silenced not only us, but the world lost one unborn and 176 generous, kind-hearted, and passionate souls. According to Professor Lisa, we have lost noble people who could make the world a better place to live in. Three years have passed, and I feel like a bird stuck in narrow cage, seeing the world through the bars of rage. My wings clipped and my feet are tied. I cannot leave my cage, and I can't not fly. I open my mouth to sing, nothing comes out, nothing. We will never forget, we will never forgive. نمیبخشیم و نه فراموش میکنیم. Thank you.
It's very hard. Zahir, Mohammed, Pedram, Samira, and Hamidreza, we honor you today and the other 171 plus one woman who was pregnant. We honor you in your lives today. Samira and Hamidreza's live with my wife and my son and myself just up the street, and we still live there. When they moved to Windsor, they came by train. It was December the 9th, 2018. We came home from church and they had checked into our Airbnb. It was Christmas, and we had new life in the house. We had Samira and Hamid. In that first month they lived in our Airbnb, we became like family. We ate together, we laughed together, we celebrated the holidays together. We went to church together, and they'd never seen a Christmas tree in a house, and they were so happy to be in Canada together, although so homesick. In January 2019, about a month, they found an apartment, Samira and Hamid. They moved out, but we kept in touch. We were like family. We would spend Sundays together. They would help my son with his homework. We spent many days together. Even one night, they came at 8 p.m. and stayed, both of them, helping my son with a project he'd put off for too long until 4 in the morning. I came home from the night shift. My son was asleep, and they had completed this incredible scene for his geography. They were so good, and they loved each other so much. In July, we met Samira and Hamid's parents. They came to visit. We went out for dinner. We gave them our car to go to Niagara Falls. We were so close. And the next month, Samira came to me and she said, John, do you think we could move back in? Apparently, Hamidreza had figured out all the expenses for coming to Canada, but he left one thing out, the brilliant man that he was. He forgot to write the rent in. So they were very tight for money, and we were so happy. We were glad to let them move back in. They were such a blessing in our house. Now we're all together in our 4-bedroom house, living as a family. We were so close. I remember a couple of months before Christmas, their last Christmas, Samira had been studying for the IELTS test to become permanent resident. They wanted to be Canadian. That was their dream. Samira would write on Instagram, "Make your dreams your future." And that's what they did. They made their dreams their future. And she took the IELTS test and she failed by 2 marks. She was so crushed. When she came to me, she said, "What should I do, John? Should I hire a tutor? We don't have that much money." I said, "Hire a tutor. You're going to pass." She hired that tutor. She studied into the night for 3 weeks, and she wrote that test again. We all waited for that test to come back. And 2 days before leaving at Christmas, she said, "I passed the test. I'm going to be a Canadian." She was so happy. So happy. Then they were to go home for Christmas. You know, I talked to Hamidreza and I said, "It's a turbulent time to go. Maybe you should stay. Maybe they won't let you come back." And he said, "John, we have to go. We have to honor our parents. We can't forget where we came from. We measured the risk, but we're going." We dropped them off at the bus station. We kept in touch. When they were there at Christmas, they sent us Instagram video. They went to a wedding. They were with their family. It was Christmas. And they were going to come back. You know, they sent this video. "We miss you so much. We miss you every day. And we love you so much." Then the news came. The plane burst into flames in the air and crashed. That's what we knew on that day. But now we know the truth. That flight, PS752, was shot down by 2 rockets fired from the IRGC, just 100 kilometers from takeoff, and 167 passengers, 1 pregnant, and 9 crew members died. All these people and all the others are taken, were taken. Samira and Hamidreza were taken. In the days and weeks that followed, I wondered, is this a mistake? Was it a mistake? But now we know it was not a mistake. Now, 3 years later, just recently, Canada, Sweden, Ukraine, the United Kingdom have formally triggered a process to hold Iran legally accountable. Finally. However, this is just the beginning. My prayer is the IRGC will be dismantled completely and the Iranian people become free. I pray for that. Is it possible to love your country and your culture and your neighbor and your art and despise the regime you're under? Is that possible? It is possible. It is for sure possible. Samira and Hamid, they loved their country, they loved their family. But they knew there was no future and they wouldn't be free. And they counted the cost and they left. I used to speak with them about Iran and the Persian culture, and even Cyrus the Great, who was one of the greatest, most compassionate leaders ever, and liberated Babylon and told everyone, you're free to go home. You're free to worship as you please. In fact, he even paid for it, for them to go home. Now, 2,700 years later, Iran looks for another Cyrus and democracy, standing for the truth about PS752 flight will not bring back Samira and Hamid, nor will it bring back the other 174 plus one. It will not bring back Masa Amini, who was killed for nothing. They're gone. They're taken. But it will honor them. And I honor them with the love that I have and the truth that I know. Samira and Hamid, I miss you so much. You know, Samira loved to take pictures and put them on Instagram, like Lisa was saying. There's something she wrote. Sometimes your joy is your source of your smile, but sometimes your smile is the source of your joy. And that's how they lived. She was such an inspiration. She was so kind. And so was her husband, who was so devoted. On December the 2nd, 2019, Samira wrote this, and I translated it with my Google Translator and 2 phones. It's been a year. We're coming to our senses. No, we are still foreign enough to say we made it. We look around at the longings caused by separation from all we know and all the people we know, and we look to the pride of our achievements. It was a difficult decision, and the path was tougher than we thought. We asked ourselves, but not ourselves, yet our new upgraded version. We asked our new selves, was it worth it? We both agree it was definitely worth it. And if we return 1,000 times, we will still take the risk. Hashtag migration. Hashtag Samira's beautiful world. In September, Samira wrote, happiness is meeting an old friend after a long time and feeling nothing has changed. I'm sure we'll meet again, Samira and Hamid. Although some things will have changed, it will feel the same because it was rooted in love. They were rooted in love. And we're here out of love. And we need to stand for love. The love of a son and a daughter lost, a mother and father grieving. The love of a father, our Father in heaven, who has the power to give life and wipe away tears. And one day, it will be like meeting an old friend after a long time and feeling nothing has changed. I pray for that day. Thank you for listening.
This message from Dr. Urbani. We all have scars, someone outside and someone inside. I still have scars on my heart from January 8th, and I know that I will never fully heal. Hamidreza Setareh Kokab had a biotechnology background complementing his mechanical engineering expertise. His research was to develop method and tool to design and manufacture improved to biomechanical medical for training medical personnel. He had the potential to do great research that would help our society. And that potential was snuffed like a candle. In a short period of time, he had already done award-winning research related to the machine learning and CAD design for human body parts, but I still remember how excited we were and about his research and how we were going to plan in the next step when we came back, but we never came back. Every Christmas and New Year, I think back and reflect on what we had and what we have lost. He was not only my PhD student, he was part of our research teams. Thank you for this opportunity to remember Hamidreza Setareh Kokab. Here are some comments from two Hamidreza colleagues, Hamid and Morteza. Hi, Hamidreza. Hi, Samira. It's been 3 years. We haven't seen you. Beautiful souls. What we have been through is a tremendous deal of feeling of deep pain and grief for your unfathomable loss. Your absence taught us how short and cruel life could be. We still can't conceive what happened to you and to the rest of 176 innocent passengers during those 20-second appalling seconds. Your smile is indelibly imprinted in our minds, and your voice can be clearly heard through photos and memories we made together. We still have a vivid recollection of how much talented, energetic, joyful, and humble you were living the life. Also, it's been too tough for us to cope with such a profound pain. We always did our best to commemorate you as you deserve. Our dearest, the world is getting worse since you have gone. Moral virus, wars, to name a few, and now people in our homeland who are being brutally oppressed on a daily basis while they operate to claim their very basic right. They are attempted towards pursuing shared thought and values like yours. They believe that the light will overcome the darkness, and sooner or later, justice prevails. You touch our hearts and greatly miss now and every single day. Love you both, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you all for those very heartfelt words. I now welcome Dr. Roop Karavo and Dr. Mirdad Saif from the Faculty of Engineering to the podium to say a few words.
It's an honor to be here today to represent Zahra. I didn't have the privilege of knowing her husband well. I got to meet him. He was a lovely, beautiful man. And the colleagues up here, I wish I had had a chance to know as well. So today I'll talk about Zahra. A day doesn't go by that I don't think about her. If you had a chance to see that video, you saw what a bright light she was. I can tell you that there are times when I go to a very dark place and I can become very sad and overwhelmed thinking about it. And sometimes I'm okay with that. And sometimes I realize I have to think more about what Zahra wanted and what she brought to our lab in real time and what she's brought going forward. Zahra was one of the most positive people we've ever had in our lab. Her bright red lipstick was illuminating when she would come in with the bravery that was required to face David Ting. If you haven't met David Ting, he's kind of a crazy guy. And I also represent a different style of supervision. Zahra was able to figure us out, I would say, within 2 meetings. She was playing both David and I very quickly, very skilled. And then she quickly settled into her work, which was challenging because it was ill-defined in the beginning. She was working in a space in greenhouse sciences and engineering that David and I did not understand. She figured that out very quickly as well. But somehow she managed to do her work and elevate our lab without exposing how little her supervisors were able to help her. That was never lost on me. There's a Latin proverb that she would quote, "If the wind won't serve, take to the oars." And the wind wasn't ever blowing in our direction, and Zahra would be out there paddling. And I think what she's done for us, we continue to work in the area that she created, the door that she opened. She's helping us and the university as we contribute to the university's wider effort to growing food for Canadians. This is something that Zahra made happen through her remarkable understanding and reconciliation of how clean energy sources can ultimately deliver good, nutritious food to people at a lower cost when you have clever engineering solutions. I mean, this sounds trivial in light of what's been lost, but it's where I have to take myself when I think about Zahra and I look at those pictures, those chilling pictures. You can see that she had a life that was 10 times larger than what she ever had in our lab outside. The tip of the iceberg is what we really ever get to know with most people, and Zahra was one of these people. She meant so much to so many people. What she meant to us, I can't tell you. And I look at those videos and I see those pictures and I just think of what was taken from us. And that's where things go dark for me. And I have to return to her work, which we continue to cite. Her pictures continue to go into our proposals because it's important for me and for all the students that work with us now to know where we came from and the titanic lift that she gave our lab when she came in. I miss her every day, and I'm so grateful that she came into our lives. Thank you.
Two weeks ago, a colleague and a dear friend, Katie Mazuka, asked me to attend this event. Of course, I would do anything to be at this event. But I guess to seal the deal, she said that our Iranian students have expressed an interest for you to be here to represent the Iranian community and say a few words, both in English as well as in Persian. So let me say a couple of things first. I left Iran some 45 years ago, before the Islamic Revolution. And unfortunately, I have not had a chance to go back. But to my core, I have an undying love and affection for my motherland, Iran, and everything related to Iran, be it the people, the culture, language, so on and so forth. هوای کوی تو از سر نمی رود، آری غریب را دل سرگشته با وطن باشد. So thank you, all of you, for this opportunity. It's an honor and privilege for me to be here on this occasion to represent both the university as well as the Iranian community. When I reflect on some of the most difficult moments during my academic leadership tenure of nearly 2 decades at Simon Fraser and at University of Windsor, 2 heartbreaking and gut-wrenching occasions come to my mind. When I had to appear before the university community and say some words, but I felt the language came short. I was lost for words. What do you say to comfort people in occasions such as the downing of the Ukrainian flight? Strangely, both these occasions involved Iran. The first one was the BAM's earthquake on December 26, 2003. BAM, which incidentally is the birthplace of my late father and an ancient city in Kerman province in southern Iran, was hit by a devastating earthquake. And that earthquake left some 35,000 people dead, some of whom were my own relatives, and some 24,000 people injured. The second occasion, of course, was the downing of the Ukrainian flight 752 on January 8, 2020. On that occasion, 176 lives were lost. The victims were from Afghanistan, Canada, Germany, Iran, Sweden, the UK, and Ukraine. Many of the victims were students and professionals from across Canada. Samira Bashiri, Hamidreza Setareh Kokab, Zahra Naghibi, Mohammad Abbaspour Ghadi, and Pedram Jadidi were 5 of those individuals whom many of us personally knew, all with academic accomplishments and a bright future ahead of them and a whole beautiful life ahead of them. Pedram was a civil engineering graduate student working with Professor Shahang Chen. Professor Cheng could not be here today, so I'm going to read a few words from her. Dr. Cheng wrote, "Everyone in my research group still remembers Pedram as a very bright, very talented, and self-motivated student. He had beautiful dreams and was very ambitious about his future. I never doubted that someday he would become an excellent researcher. Though Pedram only stayed in my group for 2 semesters, he left us with so many precious memories. I still remember when Pedram came to me for the first time after arriving in Windsor. I will never forget the exciting moment when he and another student successfully reproduced a wind-induced vibration phenomenon in the wind tunnel lab. The scene when he said goodbye and see you in a month before he went back to Iran to visit his family. These will always stay in my memory. 2 weeks ago was the 19th anniversary of the BAM's earthquake, and yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of the victims of the flight PS752. As we remember and honor all the victims, the following quote from Rumi or Maulana, the great Persian Sufi poet, describes my feeling on this occasion. Even death now will have no power to quiet their name from beating widely in our hearts, and that the wound was the place where the light entered us as a community. We have seen that this tragic event brought people and communities from across Canada as well as other countries together. At many Canadian universities, including the University of Windsor, scholarships were set up to remember and honor the memory of the victims and benefit the current and future generation of students. In Windsor, the mayor's office, the Iranian community, and the university worked together, and commemorative trees and benches were added to Windsor's riverfront to keep the memories of Samira, Hamidreza, Mohammad, and Pedram alive in our community. Their memories are forever etched in our minds. May they rest in peace. If you allow me now, I say a few words in Persian. با درود. از من خواستن که چند کلمه هم به فارسی صحبت کنم. راستش رو بخواین در عرض این 45 سال گذشته موقعیت‌های زیادی دست نداده که من برای جمع زیادی از ایرانی‌های عزیز صحبت کنم. پس پیشا پیش پوزش میخوام اگر کم و کاستی در صحبتم باشه. در وهله اول به خانواده‌های بشیری، ستاره کوکب، نقیبی، عباسپور غادی و جدیدی مجدداً دوست دارم تسلیت عرض کنم. امیدوارم که خاطرات آن عزیزان و اینکه دنیا آنها را فراموش نکرده تا حدی تسلی خاطرتون باشه. روان همگی آن رفتگان شاد. متاسفانه خبرهایی که این روزا ما از ایران عزیز و ملت عزیز ایران میگیریم بسیار ناخوشایند و غمناک هستند و گاهی باعث ناامیدی و یأس میشن. با این حال مهم این هست که ما همواره حمایت خودمون رو حفظ کنیم و امید رو از دست ندهیم، چون که این نیز هم بگذرد و همانطور که لسان الغیب میگه رسید مژده که ایام غم نخواهد ماند، چنان نبود و چنین نیز هم نخواهد ماند. همونطور که میدونیم کهندیار ما ایران در طول تاریخ خیلی وقایع رو پشت سر گذاشته و این را هم پشت سر خواهد گذاشت. در اینجا دوست دارم که یک متنی که حدود 165 سال پیش یک نویسنده فرانسوی که با ایران خیلی آشنا بوده رو بخونم که ایران رو اینطوری وصف کرده. میگه ایران در نظر من همانند سنگ خارایی هست که موجهای دریا آن را به اعماق راندند، سپس تغییر و تحولات جوی آن را به خشکی انداخته، رودی آن را با خود برده و فرسوده کرده است، تیزی‌های آن را گرفته و خراش‌های بسیاری بر آن آورده است. اما سنگ خارا پیوسته همان است که بود و اینک در وسط دره‌ای بایر آرمیده است. زمانی که اوضاع بر وفق مراد باشد، آن سنگ خارا گردش را از سر خواهد گرفت. اهمیتی ندارد که کدام عنصر طبیعی پیروز شده باشد یا چه حوادثی رخ داده باشد. تا زمانی که او از بین نرفته باشد، همان سنگ خارا خواهد بود و به جای نیرویی که بخواهد در درازای یک سده اندک آسیبی بر او وارد کند، او بر هزاران نیروی مشابه در طول تاریخ چیره خواهد شد. پس در خاتمه از قول استاد شجاعپور یادآور میشم که آنچه او تا جاودان جاوید کیهان بود، سرفراز و سرور تاریخ دوران بود، ایران بود، ایران بود، ایران بود. پاینده ایران، سرفراز و سربلند مردم ایران، زن، زندگی، آزادی.
Thank you, Dr. Caravo and Dr. Saif. I'd like to now invite back up to the podium Dr. Lisa Porter to discuss the ongoing legacy of the victims. Afterwards, a musical tribute will begin.
Okay, so one of the things that we want to be sure to let everyone know is that in the wake of these events, that a scholarship was formed in the honor of this crash. And so the scholarships have been made in name of the honors of the victims. It's called the Iranian Student Memorial Scholarship. We also have an Ontario Remembrance Scholarship. Some of these students are here today, so I'm inviting up, or maybe they can stand if our students are here. Marina Garriga, Lisa Kalu, Emmanuel Uchi Orji, and Emmanuel Amani. Are they here? Okay. Well, the scholarship, one of the things is that obviously for this, it's going to remain on in the honor of our all of the 5 individuals. And for us, elevating the education of the students here at the University of Windsor is one way that we can continue to honor these students. And so thank you to everyone who's given to this scholarship, and congratulations to the students who will carry the scholarship in their name. Thank you.
از خون جوانان وطن ناله وطن ناله وطن ناله دمینه از ماتم سر و قدشان سر و جانم سر و خدا سر و خمیده چه کج رفتاری ای چه بد کرداری ای سر کین داری ای ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای از سایه گل ملبان از این قاصه خزیده گل نیزا چون من دردم میشان جام خدا جام دریده چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ چه بکرداری ای چرخ سر کین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ از اشک همه روی زمین زیرا جانم زیرا زمین زیرا زبر کن مشتی گرت از خاک وطن هست و وطن هست و وطن هست و بسر کن چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ چه بد کرداری ای چرخ سر کین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ غیرت کن و دیشه ایام بدتر کن اندر جلو تیره عدو سینه سپر کن چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ چه بد کرداری ای چرخ سر کین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ ندین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای
Hello everyone. We are gonna play another song right now, which is called Besuye To. This was one of the favorite songs that Hamidreza Setareh Kokab, who was the PhD candidate at the University of Windsor, he loved it. As some of you might know, he was not only genius in terms of academic and his field of study, he also was passionate and great at music. He had a great voice. So now we are gonna dedicate this song to him and all 176 passenger of this Ukrainian flight PS752. And I ask you, please watch this short video. It's just 1 minute of Hamidreza, who is singing the song that we are gonna play it right after him. Thank you.
یک شب استی آل من نمی روی ای غزال من دیگر چه پرسی ز حال من تا هستم من اسیر کوی توام به آرزوی توام اگر تو را جویم حدیث دل گویم بگو کجایی به دست تو دادم دل پریشانم دگر چه خوابی فتادم از پا بگو که از جانم دگر چه خواهی.
به سوی تو به شوق روی تو به طرف کوی تو سپید دمایم مگر تو را جویم بگو کجایی. نشان تو گه از زمین گاهی ز آسمان جویم ببین چه بی پروا ره تو می پویم بگو کجایی. کی رود رخ ماهت از نظرم به غیر نامت کی نام دگر ببرم اگر تو را جویم حدیث دل گویم بگو کجایی. به دست تو دادم دل پریشانم دگر چه خواهی. فتادم از پا بگو که از جانم دگر چه خواهی. یک دم از خیال من نمیرمی ای غزال من دگر چه پرسی ز حال من. یک دم از خیال من نمیرمی ای غزال من دگر چه پرسی ز حال من. تا هستم من اسیر کوی توام در آرزوی توام اگر تو را جویم حدیث دل گویم بگو کجایی. به دست تو دادم دل پریشانم دگر چه خواهی. فتادم از پا بگو که از جانم دگر چه خواهی.
I now invite our final speaker, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Bill Van Heist, to the podium for closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Hauser. On behalf of the Faculty of Engineering, I want to thank all of you for coming this morning to gather in community to honor the victims of this senseless tragedy. The University of Windsor is proud of its diverse community. For some in attendance today, you may find comfort in prayer, reflection, and counseling. And hopefully today's memorial and the show of support from the University of Windsor community gathered here today will bring you comfort. University counselors will be made available both in the CAW and in the CEI engineering building after the program for those of you who wish to talk to someone. In addition, room 3000 in the Center for Engineering Innovation has been designated as a space for those who wish to gather for further reflection, with memorial books to share words of comfort and memories for the families of the deceased. Before we conclude today's program, I would kindly ask that we observe a moment of silence to remember Zahra, Mohammad, Pedram, Hamidreza, and Samira. Thank you. This concludes our memorial service. We invite you to stay for refreshments or to join us in the engineering building for further reflection. Thank you very much.